So here's an idea for a found footage horror movie. It's called The Curse of the Annabelle Vault, and it takes place in the basement of the Warren Occult Museum in Connecticut, USA. You know, the place where they keep Annabelle? Now this story involves a skeptical filmmaker who gets rare access to film down there one night. See, the Warrens don't let anyone down there because it's supposedly haunted. But this guy, he doesn't believe in ghosts. So he makes a deal with the museum curator, Lorraine Warren's niece, that if she lets him down there, he won't tell anyone that he was there. Now normally, Annabelle is kept in a sealed glass case, but our hero wants to build some suspense for his video. So he sneaks around after midnight, opens the case, and grabs the doll. For a little bit of dramatic flair, he even puts her in his jacket like she's a human, and then he runs off before sunrise. He brings her back up to the surface so he can show her off to his film crew. But what he doesn't realize is that this is a very bad idea. Over the next several days, strange things start to happen. People on the crew start acting erratically. They get into fights. There are car accidents. One person even gets impaled by a tree branch while hiking. And every time these misfortunes occur, the footage on their cameras mysteriously glitches, showing other people who aren't really there. At first they think it's just stress, that these people are imagining things, that it's all in their heads. But then they check the security footage at the museum, and they see something that they can't explain. It shows our hero sneaking into the basement and taking the doll. At first they think it's a dream, but then they look at the timestamp and they realize it happened at the exact same time that he went missing. They try to convince themselves that it's not a big deal, that Annabelle isn't really cursed. But then they look through the rest of the footage and they find more anomalies. There's one shot where they're hiking in the woods and there's a person standing behind them that wasn't actually there. Another time, they're looking through the old footage from the asylum where Annabelle used to be kept, and on screen there's a shadowy figure that appears behind the main character. And finally, in the middle of the night, one of the crew members wakes up in a hotel room and he sees something on the TV that makes him lose his mind. It's a live feed of the house that they've been staying in, and he sees the main character walking down the hallway. But it's not the way that he walks. It's not the way that any of them walk. It's the way that Annabelle walks in the movies. Like she's floating about 2 inches off the ground and she's moving laterally. He calls everyone else and they watch together as the character approaches the front door, walks outside, and disappears. Then the live feed cuts to static. He goes to the police, but they don't do anything because technically nothing illegal has happened. And even if something illegal had happened, they don't have enough resources to investigate properly because they're in the middle of nowhere. So they're pretty much stuck. They decide that their best option is to leave town and put the whole thing behind them. But as they're packing up their equipment, they find something. In one of the camera bags, there's a flash drive that wasn't there before. When they plug it into the computer, they see a video file and on the label it says, "Do not open." Now they could just ignore it, but they're curious. They double-click and they watch as the video begins to play. It's from the security camera in the vault and it shows our hero sneaking inside. But something's different this time. When they look closer, they see that he's smiling. It's a completely different attitude than when we saw it before. He seems happy. He's got this big, goofy grin on his face. And then, when he turns around and he walks away, the video cuts. And when they look on the screen, they see that he's still smiling. But now he's holding Annabelle. They try to delete the clip, but it won't let them. They go to another camera angle and they see that he's coming back. But now he's dragging Annabelle with him. As he approaches the door, he stops and he turns around and he looks directly into the camera. His smile gets bigger and then he whispers something. It's too quiet to hear at first, but then it gets louder and suddenly the screen flashes black. He's talking, but they can't hear what he's saying. Then they see his lips move again and it becomes clear. He didn't say anything. He just stared at the camera and smiled. That's when they hear the sound of footsteps above them. They quickly shut off the computer and they hide under a blanket fort that they built out of their sound equipment. Moments later, they hear voices and footsteps approaching. Someone enters the room, but it's not one of them. It's their main character, the one that they watched on the monitor. And he's holding Annabelle. And he's smiling, but it's not his smile. It's the smile that Annabelle has in the movies. Then the screen flashes black and we hear the audio from the security camera again. But now he's talking, and he's no longer whispering. He's loud and clear. He's saying, "You shouldn't have done that. You know what happens when you unleash me? Nobody leaves this place alive." The screen flickers back on and we see the back of his head as he walks toward the door. And when he turns the corner, we see his face once again. But now there's blood coming out of his mouth. It's like he's bleeding from the inside out. He looks at the camera and he smiles. That's when the screen goes black again and we hear him scream, "Get away from her." If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Your support keeps this channel alive and lets us bring you even more creepy, mysterious content. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.